Shifting gears on Guilds of Ravnica week to Golgari, Izoni Thousand-Eyed versus Ob Nixilis of the Black Oath, Planeswalker Commander, and we are going to keep this hand and go into a turn 2 Solemn Simulacrum, which will fix our black mana and see what we can get into after that. Okay, well, we can fix some of our mana with the Wooded Foothills also, and just hope that we can get into something that's actually worth reanimating. Worst case scenario, we can go for something off of Sidisi Undead Vizier, get something into the graveyard to hit with reanimate. But as for right now, I think we can just... I'll go into a forest. No, just in case we need double black, I'll get a Bayou off of the Wooded Foothills, and we can actually go into the Sidisi next turn. So that will be 1, 2, and 4 into Solemn Simulacrum. And I think with the Sidisi Undead Vizier we can go for the new Golgari 5-drop, and I cannot remember what the name of it is. We'll soon find out. It's the one that every time you would draw a card, instead you look at the top 3 cards and put 2 of them into your graveyard and then draw the other one. That is a great way to filter through your library and basically over the course of the game turn your library upside down. And yeah, that's the tactic with this Izoni Thousand-Eyed deck, is when it enters the battlefield you get a 1/1 black and green insect creature token for each creature card in your graveyard, and then for Golgari and sack a creature you gain a life and draw a card. We will get down the Verdant Catacombs here, I think, then we can get an Overgrown Tomb intact and go for Sidisi Undead Vizier. Now, we could sack the Solemn for a card draw, or we could reanimate the Sidisi next turn. Yeah, I think we'll just kill the Solemn here and get the card draw. We'll go for Sidisi, and yes, we want to exploit and draw. Now, because I don't know the name of this card, there we are, Underrealm Lich is what I was thinking of. Superb card, well worth picking up with the new Guilds of Ravnica set, and that will be going straight into my Merrin of Clan Neltoth and Gitrog decks as soon as I managed to start getting through all those. I've been concentrating on making the new commanders work in order to get these videos out, so I haven't actually put the new Guilds of Ravnica cards into my old decks yet. And looks like we might be playing against... yeah, we're playing against Zombie Tribal, it looks like. Ob Nixilis is a Planeswalker commander, and each opponent loses a life. You gain a life for each life lost this way. So that'll just be draining us for 1 on the +2. And we'll just let our opponent put 3 -1/-1 counters on the Sidisi. Not the end of the world if that dies anyway, seeing as how we need creatures in the graveyard anyway. And let's just sacrifice this, get out an Overgrown Tomb intact. Looks like we're doing pretty well on mana so far, or better than our opponent anyway. Although this Nykthos Shrine of Nyx is going to give them at least 4 black mana next turn, so they'll be up on that. Yeah, let me just go through my opponent's commander quickly. Then -2, enters with 3, puts a 5/5 black demon with flying, and you lose 2 life, and then -8, get an emblem with pay 2, sacrifice a creature, gain X life, and draw X cards, where X is the creature's power. And I think we can just carry on going for... we won't show them the Field of Ruin yet. Yeah, we'll just go for this Underrealm Lich and start getting some cards into our graveyard with that. And I don't think it's worth reanimating the Solemn Simulacrum, to be honest. I think I'd rather leave up Reanimate to get down the Underrealm Lich again. Underrealm Lich is a new card, so for those of you who don't know, it's a zombie elf shaman, and it is getting a buff from the Lord of the Undead. +1/+1, and it's pay 4 life. It gains trample and indestructible. It doesn't gain trample at all, it gains indestructible until the end of the turn, but you do have to tap it, so it's like a new reanimate style. Not reanimate, regenerate. It's a new style of regenerate, so very difficult thing to kill unless you have exile effects. Also, if you would draw a card instead, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 in your hand and the rest in the bin. So, very good way of loading up your graveyard and filtering your draws all at the same time. Goes incredibly well with dredge effects as well. Oh, and a duplicant is not what we want to see on that Underrealm Lich. Yeah, that's the last thing we wanted to see. And that's a shame. I thought we were going to get some Underrealm Lich action in there, but apparently not. Next turn, as retaliation for that, I'm going to Field of Ruin the Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. Yeah, that hurts with the duplicant there, but for now, just go with the Wood Elves, I think. And then we can get in a basic and just go for the Field of Ruin onto the Nykthos there. And then go for a basic swamp out of our library. And I don't think there's anything else that we want to do. We haven't gotten into any dredge effects yet, so we don't actually have any means of reanimating anything, or Rise of the Dark Realms isn't particularly good yet, so we'll just pass over to our opponent and hope that we draw into something good next turn. But yeah, we do have dredge effect. Anyone interested in the deck list, it is in the description. We do have dredge effects and little bits of self-mill here and there, but you are of course reliant on actually drawing those things. And Graveborn Muse is going to lose our opponent a lot of life. That is currently 3 life a turn and 3 cards. And they are at full life, or they were until they cast the Read the Bones. But yeah, 3 cards and 3 life every turn, they're going to be really wanting to outrace us there. Alright, we can get a couple of things into the graveyard here. And maybe in response to a board wipe we can Rise of the Dark Realms. We could get our own Skin Render, maybe, and then some other bits. Yeah, I don't think it's worth doing yet. Ramunap is not terrible. We can... How much mana have we got? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can go for Ramunap into Izoni Thousand-Eyed, and then we can either go for a Wooded Foothills, or we can get back the Field of Ruin to knock down their mana a little bit. And considering how many cards they're going to be drawing, I don't feel too bad about that, to be honest. How many creatures are in our graveyard? We only have 3, so we get 3 insect tokens off our commander, which is good for chump blocking. So I think we'll just do that. We could even try and keep the tokens open and on the battlefield, and then try and sacrifice them next turn for mana and draw some cards. See how we feel about what's coming in. We'll gain a little bit of life off of doing that as well. So our opponent's going to draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Graveborn Muse is for each zombie that you control. You draw X cards and lose X life. And another zombie there, it's a tapped 2/2. Not too worried about that, to be honest. But something for 5 mana might be worrying. This could be Ob Nixilis. Ah no, gonna bring back Sidisi from our graveyard. That's rude. Yeah, seen some Black Reanimator zombie action here. This is I wonder if they have this in their own deck. EDH Undead Vizier. When it enters, it's a Death Toucher and it has exploits, so when it enters you can sacrifice a creature, and if you do you can search your library for a card. So it's and it's a pretty big creature it's tied onto as well, 4/6. So it's for 5 mana. It's not necessarily, it's not a sack outlet, but as long as you have another creature to sacrifice, and you could sacrifice one for value, something like Solemn Simulacrum. Yeah, it's something that you can get good value out of. For 5 mana you get a big Death Touch body. And, alright, going for... Now, do I want that in the graveyard? Or do I just want to recast it? No, I'm actually going to put that in the graveyard and reanimate it, and then we can start trying to use some mana to draw some cards. Not going to block the 5/4 coming in here. Instead, we're just going to reanimate. We'll lose 6 life, but... Oh, animate dead. We could just do that instead. Okay. I just made a little rhyme. Shriekmaw doesn't do anything. Oh, that's not Shriekmaw, that's Skin Render. Gravebone Muse. Yeah, I think we just go for the commander here. So that would be... Well, why don't we tap our mana a little bit better than that? And that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, no, maybe I should have gone for the Soul Ring. We have 1 less. I don't think we've made a card there. Landfall trigger yet, actually, so yeah, we can play a land actually. So that'll be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, as long as we get another black source, we can draw again. So why don't we just go for a basic swamp right now? And then we can see what cards we draw into off of the Izoni. And get rid of the ones with Summoning Sickness. And I think we might Field of Ruin the Temple of the False God as well. Just keep our opponent down on a little bit of mana. Yeah, I don't care about that either. So we'll go again. Kill another insect. Gain a life and draw a card. Grave Titan, now that's something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't cast it. So I think what we can do here now is go for the Field of Ruin onto the Temple. And then get a black source. And we could just reanimate the Solemn. We could reanimate the Solemn and then... Yeah, I think I like doing that. It's just something to block. Oh, we could go for the Skin Render. That's 3 -1/-1 counters. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Skin Render just to get this this Lord off the field. Because they can put zombies from their graveyard back into their hand. And I don't want them to get into the point where they're doing things like that. And then we can just hold up Izoni's activated ability. We can block with an insect, assuming that they swing in with the duplicant, which they might not because we can block well with the Skin Render. But yeah, if they decide to swing in, oh, okay, our opponent quits for some reason. 5 cards in hand, 7 lands on the field, haven't even played their commander. This is the trouble with Magic Online. This is what happens, but hopefully you saw a little bit of what Izoni can do. I'll try my very damnedest to get a decent game out of our opponents, but failing that, hope you enjoyed seeing some of Izoni, and I hope you're enjoying Guilds of Ravnica Week. Thank you for watching.